Sky Squad, what's going on? We back in the building. Y'all know we back in the building. We back in the building, making it do what it do here on this good Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. You know these days be running together, okay? These days be running together. What I do know is they found that man Derek Chauvin guilty, okay? As needed to happen, all right? So we're going to be thankful for that first and foremost, okay? And so now we still got some more work to do. We still got some more people to convict. So let's remain vigilant. Let's continue to, fight this good fight. We turn on social media and we see so many things. And I just saw something else today that was just, it's heartbreaking, but we still got to remain, vigilant. And I just wanted to let you guys know that right at the top of today's show. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about, we got to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. More bad news coming out of this season. We got Andy Cohen visiting Wendy Williams. She had a lot of things to say about the current season, as well as your girl KANDI BURRUSS, okay? Then we also got to talk about what Brandi Glanville is having to say about her time working with Kenya Moore on the Family Reunion show on Netflix. So we're going to get into all of that. But before we do that, y'all know what I like to know. I like to know where we're watching from. I want to know who my people are and where you are in the world. So go ahead and drop that location down in that good chatterization right now. And we're going to call out a couple of people. We got Brenda in the house from Toledo, Ohio. We got Canada up in the building, Jersey City, Chicago here on that good hump day, San Antonio, Texas, South Carolina, South Africa in the building. We got a lot of Chi-Towns up in the house, Cleveland, Ohio, Harlem. Who else we got in here? New York, UK in the building, Toronto, Canada, Charlotte in the house. Who else? Cali up in the building as always, Detroit, Raleigh, Baton Rouge, Bloomfield. Come on now. Muskogee, Alabama, Mobile, Boston. Who else we got up in here? Brandon, Mississippi, Amsterdam up in the place to be. Jamaica, come on now. Atlanta, Birmingham. Who else we got up in the building? Let me see real quick. OC, California. Come on through, OC. Milwaukee, St. Louis, Philly up in the building. Bmore, Dallas. I see y'all. Listen, we're going to go ahead and get into the thing because, we got a lot to cover today. So let's go ahead and stage dive right on in. You know what I'm saying? Germany up in the place to be. Charlottesville. Come on. I see y'all continue to come on up in the room, y'all. All right. We got to acknowledge our first super chat of the day. We got Sherry with the happy hump day. Thank you so much, boo. We send you love and greetings today on this beautiful Wednesday. Beautiful Wednesday. First things first, we're going to talk about who we want to talk about first. Well, I want to start things off by talking about your girl, Brandi Glanville, and what she has to say about that good Kenya Moore. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Brandi and Kenya Moore have a lot of history together, okay? Now, Brandi, for those of you guys who don't know, is from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She had the whole scandal with Denise Richards last year when she outed that she had a romantic tryst with that girl, Denise Richards, okay? Denise denied it, okay? Brandi thought it was going to make her into a full-time housewife, and she got disappointed when the morning of the season reunion, she was told that she could no longer come, and it was likely because that good Denise Richards had said, not today, okay, not on my watch. And so now Brandi is a little bit sad and concerned because she's upset that they maybe have used her for the drama that she so willingly brought to the show, okay? And see, this is why you gotta just know some things about reality television. You know what I'm saying? You can't just give away everything, and that's something that Brandi did. Philly Skiwi says, don't dog out my girl KANDI. Okay, we're going to get into that. Thank you for the super chat. We got another one from Zenith from Zambia, Zambia, Africa. Thank you so much, Zenith. I love that name. I say it every time you hop up on this good live. Now, Yeah, Brandi gave away all the goods. Okay, we got another one from Tara Clark. Thank you so much, Tara. Brandi gave away all the goods, and you can't go on these shows, and sell your entire soul, okay, just to see if you could get back on another season. You know what I'm saying? It was clear that she had set out to try to out this woman and whatever they might have done behind closed doors that was off camera. And she tried to make it into a big thing. Now, I tell you all this to give you some context on who we dealing with in this situation, okay? So now she upset and sad because she felt like she didn't even at least get a call back and say, girl, we ain't gonna use you for this coming season. And it's like, girl, what did you think? You gave away all your goods for free. You overplayed your hand and you thought that they was going to invite you back, but I digress. Y'all remember that Brandi and Kenya were also on Celebrity Apprentice together, just to give you guys that little extra detail in case you guys may want to know some extra history. So they don't have the best of histories already. So again, I give you all that to give you the context of what we're about to talk about right now. Now, you guys also know that Kenya, Candiace, and Brandi also made an appearance on Netflix's The Family Reunion, okay? Now, here's how that whole situation came about, and then I'm going to go into what she had to say about Kenya. She says, my manager reached out and she said that they specifically wanted myself, Kenya, and Candiace, and they were not going to take no for an answer. And she said that she was nervous because of Kenya, because again, I told you she worked with Kenya before. Now, looking back on that experience, she said that after arriving on set after Kenya, she kind of dealt with a lot of diva behavior from Kenya Moore. She said that Kenya said to her, nice of you to make it. And she was like, oh no, we're starting like this. Now, then she goes on to say, but it was fine. She said that she did live up to her divaness a little bit with like asking everyone to get her tea constantly, even the producer. She's like, I think that's your boss. I don't think he's going to be going to get you some tea. Okay. So this isn't the first time that I've heard somebody, kind of mention that, Kenya Moore has had some diva-like behavior on a set of a show or just in the world of Hollywood altogether. And sometimes it's very difficult to really tell if the person is really being a diva or if they are just demanding the best. You know what I'm saying? And if you work in Hollywood, if you work in the entertainment industry long enough, you'll hear some stories about some of everybody being like this. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes there's a fine line because what one person may consider diva-like behavior, another person says, this is what was promised to me. And so this is what I'm expecting as per my contract. So it's hard to determine what being a diva really means in terms of what that is. And again, it's coming from Brandi. So you just don't know what to believe anyway. You know what I'm saying? But that's that on that. I want to move on over. Let's move on over because we got a couple of more things to talk about today that's I feel like is rather important. Okay. I want to move on over and we want to talk about first things first. We're going to head on over to our friends over at TV Deets. Okay. Now, this is going to be the important part of our conversation that's going to lead into the discussion about Andy's visit to Wendy Williams. So I want you guys to keep these two topics, in context with each other. Okay. So this is why we're starting here first. Now, when we head on over to TV Deets on Instagram, make sure you guys are following them. A lot of great reality TV content, news. I believe there's a preview of even the Real Housewives of New York. They give their opinion on the first episode because some of these, some of the people I tell you guys to follow, they will get sneak peeks of episodes. And these are the, good channels to follow. But anyway, the reason why I bring you here is because of this post right here. Now, they say the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 13 finale scored 0.44 in the demo and had 1.3 million viewers on Sunday night. Now, while seeing a slight jump from last week, the episode was down considerably from season 12's 0.62 demo and then the 1.8 million viewers, which aired almost a year ago to the day. and earns the title of the lowest rated finale in Atlanta history. Okay. Now, to take it on back, we all had a conversation about what we felt about the reunion for this season in context. And again, I told you, let's put it in context of reunions past. And to be quite honest with you, I feel like these ratings are very reflective of what we all felt like the season finale gave us, especially in comparison to where we have been in previous seasons. Okay. Now, this is all important again because of some things that we're going to talk about in our next story in the conversation between Wendy and Andy that I know a lot of you guys probably saw. And here's the thing. These numbers here are not shocking to me. I do feel as though I've seen a lot of creators just stop making content about Atlanta. I've seen a lot of other creators say, that it's just not giving what it needed to give. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like some of the drama was stale. Some of you guys in the comment section from our review on it basically said that, hey, maybe because of the panorama, that's why things kind of worked out the way that they worked out. And at the time, I was kind of like, I don't want to give them that excuse because I still feel like they had the story there. They just didn't give it to us the way that they needed to give it to us, right? So these numbers, again, are a reflection of what we feel or what we have been seeing as we've been watching the season play out. Now, let's take it on over to Andy Cohen's visit to Wendy Williams, okay? And I wanted to weave this story all in together to give you guys, some things that Andy has said about the season. And then again, we'll put them in context with what the numbers say, okay? So, Andy went to visit, Wendy Williams, and because I think he only lives about 20 blocks from where they actually filmed the show, he decided to show up in person. Now, always, I feel like they make for a great interview combination because they're both hosts. And if you notice, there are times when Wendy will ask a question and then Andy will ask a question right back. You know what I'm saying? So they both have that knowledge of how to go back and forth and how to redirect. And there were some instances where that did occur. However, when it comes to Atlanta, when we talk about the season, Andy says to Wendy, he says, listen, look, this was a very difficult season. There were plenty of times. Now, there was at least one or two times that we knew of that production had to stop. But he said that there were several times that production had to stop filming during the filming process because of issues that came up as a result of the pandemic. So that means that at some points there were gaps of time between when something was being filmed, whoever was being tested, because as you guys may recall, Porsha at the beginning of the season, she was back and forth to Louisville for the protest. So she would have to quarantine and wouldn't be able to film with the group. Then there was Drew, who was really kind of on, I don't want to say she wasn't on bed rest, but she was definitely, sectioned off from the rest of the group in her beginning stages because of her issues with her Achilles. She had that accident on the stage where she, I guess, fell or something like that. And so that kept her under wraps as well. So there was a lot of disconnectedness that Andy is sort of attributing to, the season being a little choppy. He didn't say it was choppy, but that's what he said. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I think we had a super chat come through. Let me acknowledge that really quickly if I can see it. Oh, we have Uzai who says cable TV is dying, too much competition from Disney, Hulu, Paramount. Real Housewives of Atlanta is still number 2 reality-based programming. So we're going to get into that as well. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for just a minute. So he does say that there was a lot of stop-start within this whole situation. So that could contribute to how things played out on this on the screen as well. But to me, it's still not it's it's still not as big of an excuse because the story was there, as we said yesterday. Victoria Fernandez, thank you for the super chat, says, good day. I'm finally able to see you live. Thank you, boo. D Not Nice says, Wendy needs to bow out gracefully. Her mind is bad. Kandi is the queen of ATL and beyond. Wendy has the IQ of a rusty nail, according to D Not Nice. Thank you so much for that super chat, boo. We appreciate you. All right. So next, we want to move into Wendy's thoughts on the ladies. So for Wendy, she says that she had previously thought that Cynthia was boring and that she absolutely loves Cynthia. Okay. And to me, I'm kind of like, I feel one of two ways about Cynthia. I feel like, I love Cynthia. Interviewing her was a blast. She seems beautiful. But in terms of, the continuation of the show, it seems like she's just had a very nice arc. And it seems like, in my mind, I would just go ahead and say, let's transition out with Cynthia and bring in someone else new. Okay. I just feel like we need some new stories here. Okay. That's one of the biggest things. Again, from dynamic women and dynamic casting. Then, she went on to talk about Drew. Okay. Now, what she said about Drew was interesting. She says that she doesn't care enough about her. And it's interesting because I kind of feel like, I felt like at points, especially in the beginning, a lot of people were rooting for Drew. And then towards the end with the Prophet storyline, I think a lot of us were just like over Drew in that moment and her judgment of LaToya and the Prophet. Okay. So that's what she had to say about Drew. Then she went on to talk about the Bolo situation. Now, here is where things get interesting. When she talked about the Bolo situation, basically she felt like it was too much. Okay. For Andy was completely in defense of the Bolo storyline. He said what he loves about the ladies, especially on this season on Atlanta and then especially in New York, is that the ladies are very free about their sexuality and very open about what they, do and how they maneuver through the world and their intimacy. And for Wendy, she felt like it was just too much. And she kept kind of like, it was almost like she wanted him to submit to the idea that it was too much. And he was just kind of like, well, okay, that's your opinion. Okay. And I kind of liked how he moved with her sort of line of pushing that notion down his throat. Like, okay. And he essentially, calls her a prude. Okay. So then we get into the Kandi situation. And she basically says that she loves Kandi. This was so interesting. She said that she loves Kandi, but that she felt like Kandi is filthy and disgusting. Okay. Because she feels as though Kandi is a little too free with his person, with her personality. Okay. With her sexuality, I should say. And to me, I felt like, I didn't understand that. I feel like this. Kandi is a married woman. Kandi, for whatever it's worth, we didn't see or hear of anything from Kandi doing anything in the dungeon. She did encourage the rest of the ladies to be free, and she did encourage them to cover the cameras because she wanted them to be free. But I never got that, I feel like Kandi used a negative situation, turned it into a positive, and I feel like she embraced it. And it's also a part of her business model because she has the whole, the toy business, selling the toys and stuff like that with the affiliates and making a lot of money, I'm sure, from that. Bedroom Kandi, that's what it is, Bedroom Kandi. And I just kind of felt like it was very judgy of Wendy. And maybe, again, Wendy is at a point in her life where she's, you know, a lot more experienced at this point. And so the things that maybe didn't seem so just out there to her, maybe they didn't seem that out there back in the day. Because based on the biography, I would wager to say that Wendy, you done had your share of wild times. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it just feels like, really is this the pot calling the kettle? I mean, is that what we doing? Rebecca G says Wendy's husband was free with his sexuality. She should hush on that subject. Thank you, Rebecca, for that super chat. Yeah, I just kind of felt like, Wendy, come on, like this is, you know, I just didn't get that, you know, and it's funny to me. She didn't, you know, go into criticizing anybody else, but you know, to me, it was just kind of like interesting that she would choose to say that, especially after saying, listen, I love Kandi, but then saying, but I think she's filthy and disgusting. And at first I was like, I thought she was going to, you know, recover and say, you know, Candi's filthy in that good kind of filthy way. You know what I'm saying? I really thought she was about to go there with it, but she went all the way. No, I think she's disgusting. I'm like, okay, that's a real harsh judgment. We got Shamar Iverson with the super chat. Wow, Uncle Wendell need to calm down. People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw those kind of stones. I mean, you know, thank you for that super chat. We appreciate that. Who else we got up in the building? We got Marcella up in the building who says, did Wendy feel her ex-husband was too free with his stuff? Wendy is too opinionated with other people's stuff. Wendy, please retire. Thank you so much for that super chat. We love you, Marcella. We got Demita Joe McCullough who says, I love her how free she is with her sexuality. Wendy is being judgmental to say the least. You know, and I personally feel like I'm happy that people are able to be free with the things that they do in their intimate lives. And I'm hopeful that we can continue down this non-judgmental road of welcoming people in their sexuality and however they choose to be. You know what I'm saying? We had another super chat up in this good building. Hold on, let me see where I can find it. Oh, here it is right here. We got Karen Harris with the super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and we send you love. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I think this is a case of Wendy being Wendy. You know, sometimes Wendy says things that are just kind of, you know, controversial and contradictory. And I don't even know if she's going to remember it tomorrow, to be quite honest with you. I don't. I love Wendy. Y'all know I love Wendy, but at the end of the day, you know, when I'm watching her, sometimes I know, you know, she'll say one thing today and then she'll say another thing the next day. But we did hear also, too, interestingly, thank you for the super chat, NC Old School. Wendy may feel that way because that type of woman could have slept with Kevin. Ooh, interesting observation. Thank you so much for that super chat. We also did get another interesting little tidbit from Wendy in that she, I guess maybe came down to this good Virginia, okay? And she then hung out with the Grande Dame of Potomac herself. So it sounds like it was not a blind date, but a double date or some type of situation. So now Wendy is hanging out with the Grande Dame, Karen Huger, okay? Now, listen, let me say this, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to let it go. Y'all know I love me some Wendy, but I got to be real with y'all. Selena T says Wendy knows something deeper about Kandi. Could what she knows be connected to T.I. and Tanya? I'm just saying. Don't know. Thank you for that super chat, Selena. So here's my thoughts on Karen and the Grande Dame. Okay. We had Cindy with the super chat who says no Kandi slander going on today, and that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Okay, thank you so much for that super chat. This is what I got to say about Karen, Wendy hanging out with Karen. Okay, Karen, I'm gonna give you my advice. Okay, keep your tea with Wendy to a minimum. Okay. Keep the tea with Wendy to a minimum because Wendy's still going to, at the end of the day, do her job, okay? She's still going to sit up on her show and she's going to still say what she got to say. So just know that you know, your secrets should stay safe within inside yourself. Okay. That's what I would say to you. Keep it surface, keep it fun, and keep it light. I wouldn't even mention to to the world or anything else about anything about y'all friendship, because I just say that to say you saw what happened with Wendy and Nene. It did not work out for the two of them. And I would prefer that you just not go down that same road, okay? Wrong road. So just keep your friendship out the streets. Don't say nothing about it to nobody. Don't call her on the FaceTime. Don't do none of that, okay? Cindy, who says, oh, we had this one already. I think we had another couple of super chats coming through. I want to make sure I get that. D Not Nice says Wendy is nobody's friend, and I urge Karen to avoid Wendell at all costs. Thank you so much for that super chat, D Not Nice. Yeah, I mean, again, I love me some Wendy. I absolutely love me some Wendy, but we know now. Can we trust her? Okay. Can we trust her? Can you trust her with your secrets, Karen? I wouldn't do it. That's just me. I would keep anything, especially if it relates to the season of Potomac, especially if it relates to your relationship with Ray. Okay. Any issues that you might got personally, I would keep them to yourself. Y'all can feel, because we all got this type of person in our life. 9 times out of 10, unless we didn't grown to the place where we just didn't got rid of most of those people. I feel like for the most part, I would like to think that I don't have any of those people in my life. But we have all had them in our lives where I do. I mean, people that I'm just kind of cool with, that I would never tell anything to, like anything personal. We might be cool, we might can kick it, and it ain't no knock on them. It's just me protecting my space and my personal peace, and just saying I have had these types of things happen before. I'm not gonna let it happen again. Or I didn't seen something happen to somebody else before, and I'm determined that it ain't about to happen like that with me. So you won't know nothing about me that I don't want you to know. Okay. To Be Black Native says, amen, feed Wendy with a long handle spoon. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure Wendy is fun to hang out with, you know, in terms of my watching Wendy and watching her on her show and her after show. She seems like she would be a fun person to hang out with. But it's probably more fun if you are not in the business, right? So if you were in the entertainment business, because there's going to be a point where Potomac is going to come back on, okay, in August. Y'all hanging out now in April, okay? And then something happens, okay? And remember, when Nene and Wendy were hanging out, they were filming Atlanta too. So that's how we ended up seeing, you know, Nene on the phone with Wendy during the season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Similarly, Potomac is filming now, okay? It just came out from Wendy's mouth that she was hanging out with Karen, okay? So, Karen, leave it out the show. Leave it out the show altogether, okay? Because, right, you will end up being, come August, September, October, you could end up being that girl over there, unless your name is Larsa Pippen. Yeah, I had to say that. I had to say that. And the reason I say that is because, you know, Wendy was very much about being on the Real Housewives of Miami, but not so into being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. as you recall, because when she said it then on her show, she said that she refused to slum it. Okay? She refused to slum it. We had a super chat from Sheree Banks. Sheree, I was scrolling up trying to get back to it, but I didn't. But I do want to acknowledge you and say thank you. Thank you. We have another one from Kirby Jersey who says, but hanging with Wendy is increasing her popularity, i.e. she was on last night with Chrissy Teigen. She could be the face of Real Housewives of Potomac instead of Jezebel. Well, let's acknowledge a couple of things too first. Again, it was, you know, it was slumming it to be a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but which is on Bravo, but she was throwing her hat in the ring to hang out with Larsa Pippen on the return of Real Housewives of Miami, which is going on the streaming service on Peacock, which is not on prime time like Real Housewives of Atlanta. Also, Real Housewives of Atlanta being, I think, the second highest in the ratings in Housewives after Beverly Hills this last year, for 2020 at least. I don't know what 21 is going to give, but it's just interesting to me, right? Now, in terms of Karen becoming the face of Potomac, I believe it's also in Karen's best interest to continue to be the underdog, because we as fans tend to root for the underdog in these situations. And it seems as though, because it does seem like Giselle is the face of that show. She's put out there first. She's always doing the press. But, you know, Karen is the one who throws the shade, gives the best reads, has the best one-liners, you know, has the looks in her confessionals that have people talking, is shouted out by Rihanna. You know, it's all those little things that Karen has in her back pocket that make her a fan favorite. So I don't know. It's interesting to me. It's all very, very, very interesting to me. To watch these things play out. But you know, we're gonna keep watching, you know, to see what happens with the rest of these shows. Any news that I have on Miami, I'll definitely be bringing it to you. Any updates that we have on Potomac as we continue filming, I'll be bringing it to you. And you know, we'll be watching New York, we'll be watching Beverly Hills, and we'll be talking about those shows here on this channel as well. And so just listen, Atlanta's going to be ending shortly, but we still got a lot to talk about. So y'all make sure y'all stick around. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today. You guys know I tell you all the time, and I just have to reiterate it. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you commenting, whether we agree or we disagree. You have that right to do so. And I will always acknowledge it and respect it. And I also want to say thank you just for taking time out to, you know, sit and chat with me about these things as they occur. I really, really appreciate it. And I don't take it for granted, not a single day. I thank you so much. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.